what is the flow of MVC, what is the responsibilities of model, view, and controller in MVC architecture. Let me open that once again. We discussed what is the responsibility of model, view, controller, 3 layers, and with database connectivity, we tried a small workflow to understand the responsibility of these 3 layers. Fetch and display student detail. So model takes care about the data, and controller takes care about the routing, request receiving, communicating with the model, and then collecting the data if any, and then communicating with view. And view stands for UI layer, that is user interface layer. And a small workflow is how we can make use of them. So if you'll see here, we discussed this model layer about data layer, which is having 2 major things. One is structural definition of the data, which is the list of properties, and one is functional definition of the data, which is called model function. In our case, it is get all students. So this is called common workflow, but on top of this, we have some design patterns, some patterns and practices. In fact, if you say MVC itself is a patterns and practice. So dividing the responsibility to various layers, understanding them and serving them. This is what the benefit behind the any patterns and practices, so that you can apply various best practices. Now, today we are going to learn some new design pattern called repository pattern. So what exactly we are going to do in these patterns and practices? Model layer, responsibility, what we understood last class, we are going to divide into 2 parts. The structural definition of the model will be still residing on the model, and the functional definition, what we discussed, which is communicating with database, if any. Okay, sometimes someone will say, I don't have any database connectivity. I might be doing everything in the model itself, some hard-coded data. Then perhaps we don't need this repository pattern. The repository pattern is required only when we have something related to database connectivity. All right. So this function is connecting with the database, that we have to take it to the repository layer. So how to prepare that? You have to right click and add additional folder. As of now, we have come across 3 folders, M, V, and C. Now on top of that, we need some additional patterns and practices. So this folder name, I will name it as infrastructure. Some people name it as infrastructure. Some people name it as domain. Okay. Some people name it as services. So usually this folder is going to have 2 additional folders inside. One is called repository and one is called interface. Let's create that as well. That means database related any work. Save the data into database, fetch the data from database, anything, whatever our model was doing, those things will be taken to this layer. So name it as say student repository, assuming that all the transactions what I'm going to do inside, it will be related to student. So I named it as student repository. Then another folder I will add to contain the interfaces. I will name it as abstract. This is called abstract layer and this is called repository layer. That means whatever class we are going to add for repository that is going to communicate with database, those class should be abstracted from some interface, one or more interface. So without interface, MVC doesn't suggest even a simple workflow because here security also matters, and we know interface is for abstraction, and any level of security we can provide with the help of abstraction. So let's create one repository class, and that should be implemented from some interface, at least one interface. So class name or you can do one thing, this folder name you name it as repository. If by chance you are thinking more than one class file is required, and when you create the class file name, that class file name give as student repository, that is also fine. So right click here and name the class as student repository, assuming that not only student related database handling as well as college related, university related, examination related, various classes will be there inside that folder. Then I can name that folder as simply repository. In class level, I can name it various way, like student repository. Depends. Suppose you are thinking only and only one repository class, you can simply name the folder name it as student repository, and inside the class you can do some other name like simply repository, or you can say student, but don't write the same name as the folder name. So repository layer added a class file called student repository. That means this class is going to do that whichever is required to do for communicating with the database, whether incoming data or outgoing data to database. That means indirectly saying whether select command or insert command, update command, delete command, any command, but you have to write functionalities in this repository layer. Now, what I will do is I will copy the functionality what we have kept here in the model class, and I will paste it there. Cut and paste. So cut from here, paste over there. Which part? Only the functionality part, database communication part. So already that folder I have uploaded to Google Drive. So in the original one, I'm just changing here. I'm taking the functionality part into the repository layer, and structural definition of the data, that is called properties, in the model class itself. Here you need some namespaces. we can in fact copy paste that as well. Either copy paste or cut paste. Student model class we have to use here. So control dot, take the model. So we had already coding, that's why I cut and paste it. But imagine you don't have the coding. From the scratch you are starting, then model we create like this and repository class we create like this. And don't forget to implement at least one interface to this. Second interface, third interface and all, time will say if necessary. But when we say abstraction, at least one interface should have been implemented here. So go to abstract layer and create one interface. Usually the naming convention of the interface is prefixed by I. So whatever your class name, so I will name it as I student repository. This is called minimum one interface. Okay, suppose imagine two interface you need. I student registration, I student examination, like that also possible. So registration related all the function will be kept in another interface, and examination related all the functions will be kept in another interface. If it is so, then you have to name it like this: I student examination repository, I student registration repository. This time I'm taking only one interface, so I student repository. Just give me a minute, guys. Someone is going on pinging me. Okay. All right. So interface, you already know. Interface should have the declaration part of the function, not the body of the function. So just take the declaration part and put it there. Student class is necessary to take the namespace. So control dot and then add it. Okay. So declaration part in interface and definition part in repository class, and you must inherit. We set as implementing the interface. So colon I student repository, and take the namespace name. Okay, this interface is inside this namespace. Also, I took the namespace name at the top. If you will take the mouse and put control dot, it will give you a list of suggestions, and you have to take the respective namespace one. So up to now, what we did, whether everybody following me or not. So I'll put a break here. Now, tell me guys if you missed any step. Imagine freshly you are coming and creating one new solution. Okay, so you have to create file, new project as usual. Go for MVC. It will provide you automatically MV and C. Okay, so first thing you have to do is create your database, create your table, create your stored procedure if any. Then you come to application layer. In application layer, first thing you have to do is model. Okay, since we had already the solution, so it become easier for me to copy paste it and all that. But freshly, suppose you are creating, this is the way. So create the model, keep all the properties in the model. Then go for infrastructure layer, which I suggested as, some people name it as domain, some people name it as services, Some people name it as infrastructure. So based on your team and their coding standard, they might have named it. You have to be careful about it. So while understanding an existing project. Infrastructure, under that 2 layers, because we wanted a repository layer separately for the database connectivity. So if somebody asks what this repository pattern is doing, then you have to say repository pattern makes the database communication layer separate from the application architecture. Today we are putting it in a folder. Chance is that tomorrow we will put it in a separate class library. Okay, if further reusability you want to do. So infrastructure is the main folder where 2 additional layers should be there. One is actual functionality, inserting data, updating data, deleting data, whatever it is, or maybe more complicated than that. And other layer is implementing the abstraction. So
hello,
I
sir.
created, yeah, any question?
Yeah, just one now, sir. Like when we separate like these in all different files, like how will be the flow of the program, sir? Like
Oh,
how
we are
will
going
the
to that. We are going to that. So
Okay.
very simple. In controller, last class what we did, we are calling the model class function, isn't it? So today we will call repository class function. What is there? We will come to that. So this is the workflow. Now go to controller and create the object of repository instead of creating the object of model class, because our function is now available in repository class. So line number 12, I will delete because no more that function is available in model class. So our function is available in repository class. So create the repository class. Repository is already implemented from some interface. So you know, whenever a class is implemented from some interface, reference should be created for interface and instance should be created for the class. If anybody might have forgotten, you must overlook abstraction chapter in C#. Very, 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 very important. Everyday life, you will be using your abstraction. How to use interface, how to create object during interface, how to call the function when you use interface, all those things you have to overlook. So I'm going to create the reference of interface in order to instantiate the class called repository class. So control dot, take the namespace, whatever object name, give it a repository object. So I named it as repo, and instance should be created for the respective class. So stud repository. Control dot. So interface reference equal to new implemented class. Now this object will help me to call the function get all student. Very simple. I was calling model class function because my function was available in model. Today I called repository class function because my function has shifted to repository layer. So now can I say instead of 3 layers, we used 4 layers. What are they? M, V, C and infrastructure layer. That infrastructure is having n number of layers, that is different story based on our facilities and features. But overall, this is data layer. Sometimes people write it as data layer also, data access layer. Okay, any name instead of infrastructure, mostly welcome. Data access layer, domain, services, infrastructure, any name out of it, they may put it. That's it to be the separate layer communicating with database. Very simple definition for repository. It doesn't take care anything else other than database communication. That means if you use the repository pattern, make sure Any place you cannot communicate with the database, you have to come to repository layer and you communicate with the database for any purpose, whether fetching the data, saving the data, anything. So it should not be directly you called a function, directly you did some database manipulation in controller. Sometimes in model directly you call some database stored procedure. Sometimes in repository, no, it should not be like that. Responsibility should be divided into various layers. So MVC, we said it as 3-layer or 3-tier architecture. Now we will say it as N-tier. We should not say 4-tier, 5-tier, 6-tier. Up to 3-layer, it is said to be single tier, 2-tier, 3-tier. But once more than 3-layer, we say it as N-tier. This is the naming, conventions that we usually talk. Up to 3 layers, it is called single tier, 2-tier, 3-tier. But once it exceeds three layers, then we started saying N-tier. So MVC with repository pattern is as equivalent as N-tier architecture in web form. Usually we follow in web form. So how to now run it and see. So let's put a breakpoint here in the controller. Nothing difference we did in the controller between controller to view. So just run it and see where it is starting and where it is going. So why did I put a breakpoint here in the index of student detail? Because our routing has been set accordingly, right? Yesterday we went to route.config and then we set default routing as student controller and index action method. So we are plugging the request from here. The default request will come and sit in the student controller. So I put a breakpoint there. Let's go and
clarification.
any question.
Can you please explain routing?
Default routing, that is like usually you right click and set as the default page, right, in the web form. So here we don't have like that. We have a separate layer for that. You can see here inside app_start, you have some route config.cs. So there you go and set your default routing path. That means by default where it should come and sit. Okay. Reason is I might be having so many controllers, right? Can you see one example controller? It has already given called home controller, just like hello world example. We created one controller. Who knows, tomorrow we will create one more controller, right? So if I have a number of controllers, then in which controller is to go and sit, that matters. So default controller, we have named it as student detail, and default action method, we have named it as index. This is called controller, whole class, and this function is called action method. Okay. In web form, we say it as event method. Here we say it as action method. Okay. Now go and continue the flow. Came here, line number 17, F11, and F10, you have to proceed further. And you got the data from database. All right. Then you are proceeding further and collecting the data. Directly you can put a breakpoint here and then continue. You can see here all the data has collected from database, and then it came back to controller and then bind the data. This time view we didn't see in detail. We will see later. We use the inbuilt feature called auto-generated view, or in other words, we say it as scaffolding view. Any question?
So is
Yeah, go ahead.
the view that you created yesterday?
Same view.
Okay.
Same view you are using, because no change in the view side.
So
Only the model class divided into two parts. You can see.
right, and then the repo. The reason that you use repo, is it because of security reason?
It's not only security. See, abstraction layer is for security reason. But why we created repository layer is to make your database connectivity responsibility as a separate layer.
Okay, I got you. Thanks.
But if somebody doesn't use abstract layer, then we can say you are not using security layer. So that 2-3 interfaces, let's say, couple of people we allowed first interface, couple of more people we allowed second interface. You know already how to provide security differently by using different interface. So that abstract layer you can add for the reason of security, but why we created repository patterns and practices, why we created repository patterns and practices, why this design pattern is used. In a single sentence, if you want to answer, you have to say database communication layer, we want to make a separate layer. Not everything, everywhere, anywhere, we should communicate with the database. Okay, so in this level, we are using a separate folder. In real-time projects, probably this, instead of a folder, we can create a separate class library. So that at any moment of time, if I want to take that DLL will give me entire database communication functionality as a single DLL separately.
Is that because you can switch out your UI anytime and your data access layer does?
Absolutely. Like tomorrow they ordered us a mobile application. Okay. So now this application using a lot of things, view, MVCs, Razor View and all that. Not necessarily those part will be used in mobile application. But when you say business database communication, business logic, structure of the data, everything same. It's not like through mobile application, if you are booking a ticket, you are giving more money for the ticket, and if you are booking it from web application, you are giving less money, nothing like that. Here, different business rules and regulation, they are different. It's not like that. Here, different database it is communicating to, their different database. It's not like that. So, if a lot of things is common, then why we will not make it as a reusable separate layer, so that anything, anytime your customer is demanding from you, forget about mobile application. They may ask you for some enhancement in the same web application. So why not in a particular layer you should have everything, so that various best practices will be slowly adopted easily. Okay. So that is the intention of repository patterns and practices. So same workflow without repository pattern, last class we did, and same workflow with repository pattern, this class we did. Now little more about the view, because when we say model, controller, repository, abstract, all these are nothing but C# coding only, isn't it? So you have to play with C#. But when we say view, view is nothing but CSHTML, C# and HTML combination. So little more we have to learn about view. Yesterday we created auto-generated view. Now if somebody asks, you have to write the coding and all, how to write your own coding in the view layer. That is called Razor View. Okay. We will go to that, but just one outline I will make it here. So here M, that is model, view, controller that was already there. And additionally, you made something called infra, and under that you made something called abstract and something called repository. This will contain all your abstraction using interface or sometimes abstract class. You know what is difference between interface, abstract class, when to use this, when to use that, and so on. So for abstraction, that layer will be used. Repository, any data access related functionality. So here onwards, your database communication functionality should not be sitting anywhere else. Anything related to database, the functional definition should come here in the repository. Okay. You will call that function there, that is a different story. But functional definition of database communication should come here and sit in the repository layer. In web form, when people were using 3-tier or entire architecture, so they named it as data access layer. Nowadays, no more demand, that's why people are not using it, but okay, this repository patterns and practices got the conceptualization from data access layer of web form actually. So we standardized our entire solution to 4 layers instead of 3 layers now. Then we'll go for something called view. We say it as Razor view or Razor pages. Same concept, later on we name it as Razor pages in .NET Core, but here we say it as Razor view. So why this Razor engine came at all, first of all? A Razor engine. If you go to your view, you will see, this is the one. You will see, first of all, the extension is CS HTML. Okay, CS stands for C# and HTML stands for HTML. So that means this page can contain C# coding as well as HTML coding. First thing is that. That is the main feature of Razor engine. So compiling UI from both the angles, scripting as well as any programming language, that is the concept of Razor engine. So 2 things here. One is CS, that stands for C#, and HTML. That's why we name it as CS HTML. So first thing is how to understand which coding is HTML, which coding is C#. Any code that starts with @ is C# in the view. So starts with @. And what is the HTML part in that? Any text or any HTML tag. Just see this. We didn't create, it automatically created, but you will see couple of lines will be there which start with @ and few lines will be there which directly start with the HTML tag. So this line is C# line. This line is C# line. So wherever you see @ that is C# line. That means when you will create your own coding, that time also you should not forget that every C# line should start with @. And HTML, as usual, you can see directly table, tr, td, th, no @ nothing. Because originally this is UI page. UI page means HTML page by default, HTML coding by default. That means imagine I forgot to write this @, then what it will understand? It will understand HTML. That means since angle bracket is not there, it will display as a text, which is not our intention. Our intention is get some HTML library of C# library class. I mean H capital TML small. That is the name of the class available in C# class library. So make use of that class name, and there will be a function inside that class called display name for display name. Various functions are there. Slowly we'll understand them. Suppose somebody wants to design a text box. HTML.textbox, HTML.dropdown list, HTML.checkbox. So those controls also can be developed using HTML helper class, and some functions are there for special purpose. This is called HTML helper class. Actually, it's a class. Since it is helping us to generate HTML, that's why it is called HTML helper class. So be aware about these terminologies. HTML helper class contains so many functions that serve to design various controls like text box, checkbox, etc., and also helps to call various inbuilt functions to serve various action plans. Okay. Slowly you will come to know what are all those functionalities and how to call them, which function is doing what action, which function is designing what control, etc. Now, those HTML controls, not HTML controls, HTML helpers are of three types, particularly to design the control. One is standard HTML helpers. One is, let me give the heading as HTML helpers or HTML helper class. Standard HTML helpers strongly coupled or tightly coupled, we say it as. HTML helpers, and one is called templated HTML helpers. So today, whatever we are learning, apart from this repository patterns and practices, about Vue. Okay. So in Vue or UI layer, you are using the most important part is HTML helpers. That's why you are learning this. So in Razor View, entire page Razor View is divided into two parts. One is C# coding, one is HTML coding. So C# coding part will be developed using HTML helpers. HTML part, anyway, you know HTML and you are using it. No difference. So what is the standardized HTML helper? Strongly coupled HTML helpers and templated HTML helpers. So standardized, I will give an example. Imagine you want to draw a text box. one example I will give, and later on we can use various controls. I will put @ because it's C#. Then I will write capital H, small ml, TML, HTML. Okay. This is the name of the class. Put a dot. Suppose you want to draw a text box. You have to write text box. Okay. That is the name of the function. Put a bracket. Inside this bracket, give the ID of the text box. Imagine my ID is txt name. Then give txt name like this. Okay. So text box is a function. Checkbox is a function. Drop down list is a function. Radio button list is a function. So whatever you want to draw the control, that is a function that you have to call using HTML helper class. And you have to pass one argument to that function, which is supposed to be the ID of that text box. This is the way we write for standard HTML helpers. So text box is a standard HTML helper function, which is used for designing a small text box independent of anything. We cannot say which model property is connected with this text box. If I have a model data, I want to pass it and display it like we did it here. Have a look. I'm passing list, right? List of student. So student is having so many properties. Did I say which property of the model class will be connected with this text box? I didn't say that. It's an independent text box. I don't know whether this data is going to model data or coming from model data. I have no idea. It is an independent text box. That is called standard HTML helper. When you strongly coupled means strongly related, okay, with the model data, then it is called strongly coupled HTML helper. See, same text box, if I will do like this, @HTML dot text box for, okay, for, it will be added at the last. Text box for is another function which will take one small lambda expression from you, and it will connect your model class property with that text box. That means whenever any model data will come from controller, name will display in this, or roll number will display in this, or marks will be displayed in this, something like that. And whenever entering data on the screen and I am submitting the button, always this text box data should go and sit in so and so property of the model class. If that is the intention, then you have to go for the second variety. So here I can say M such that M, X, Y, Z, anything you can take, no problem. Just a lambda expression, like we used in, filtering the list and all. So M such that M dot, say second text box, I want to strongly connect with Max, for example. Strongly connect with Max, what do you mean? Any data coming from controller to view, Max should be displayed in this text box. Any data coming from screen to controller or from UI to controller after submitting the form, that whatever text, data I typed in this text box, that should be plugged to this property. That is called strongly coupling model data, model property with our UI text box or UI drop down, UI checkbox, whatever it is. So M such that M dot marks. See the difference, first variety and second variety. First variety say, I don't know who is model. I don't know whether use of model is there or not. Model class objects. I am a text box. My ID is txt name. That's it. If you want to collect data from me, you use this ID. That's it. I have no idea about whose model, whether I'm getting data from model or I'm giving data to model. That's called standard HTML helpers. But when we say strongly coupled, you are deciding yourself that I have maybe 5 text boxes here. I might be having 5 properties here. Each text box or each drop down or something, whatever I'm designing there in the screen, it is strongly related with so and so property, so that when collecting data from controller to UI, those controls will be related to this property. Similarly, when collecting data from UI to controller by submitting the button or so and so text box data will come and sit here. So and so drop down data should come and sit here. So and so text box again, one more text box come and sit here, and so on. So that kind of text box or drop down or radio button, anything you want to design, you should have for instead of simply name of that function. And here, instead of within double quote ID, you have to push one lambda expression. Now question arises, in this text box, what will be the ID? I didn't give any ID, right? So in this text box, by default, whatever the name of the property, that should be the ID. You don't need to give it. It will automatically take what is the name of the property of the model class. My model class property is Max, and I strongly related with Max. So the ID of this text box will be automatically same spelling, MARKS. We will see it by designing it. Then comes templated. So what's wrong in this? So that we need one more variety. In this text box or in this text box, whatever type of the data, you don't define it actually. You didn't say this should be numeric or string or, related to data type. What kind of text box? You never said that. If user is typing 1, 2, 3, 4, most welcome. If user is typing ABCD, most welcome. Here also same thing in the second variety. Sometimes we want to restrict our editor. Okay. Mostly if you say text box and all, that is called editor. Drop down is not one editor, guys, because drop down, we are just selecting whatever has been binded. We don't go and type it there. So mostly editors are using templated one. That means in addition to model class property, connecting with the particular control text box, they will say data type also will connect. What do you mean by data type? Here, integer roll number, string name, decimal marks. So I want, if I said decimal, it should not allow anything other than decimal. ABCD, somebody is starting typing also, it should not allow. Integer roll number. Apart from integer, it should not allow anything. Somebody is typing A1, 2, 3, it should not allow. Okay? Kind of validating the data based on the data type. That label automatically will be applied when we are doing something like this. Same text box, but I wrote @HTML.editor for. When I say editor for, M such that M.roll number, what will happen? This will also draw a text box only, because it's an editor. Editor means text box always. You can type it something, or even checkbox is coming under editor, guys. If it is Boolean, then automatically it will understand that I have to create a checkbox. If it is other than Boolean, it will understand that I have to create a text box. So checkbox, usually you make a tick mark. That is called editing the checkbox. So checkbox is one editor. It is in the editor category. But it will depend upon the data type. If your data type is only Boolean, then only it will understand as checkbox. Other than Boolean anything, it will understand it as text box. So this time what it will do, it will design a text box for me, and automatically it will set the property of that text box to numeric feature. Means somebody cannot type ABCD and all. So this is called a integer text box. This is called model related text box. This is called simply a text box. So like this, you have various HTML helpers to design controls. Apart from this, you have more functions, which is for second work. Can you see here? I wrote various action plans also can be done, like display for, hidden field for. So various other functions are there, which is being used not only for designing some controls, but also for kind of display value. Say, for example, hyperlink. Hyperlink is not a control. It's not a text box or radio button or something. But still, I can use, HTML helper for hyperlink. So let me write here, other implementation of HTML helpers. So these three implementation we saw only for control design, right? Form control design. But apart from form controls, we have other implementation also. That is, just example is hyperlink. All of you know hyperlink, right? If you are clicking one link and it is taking you somewhere, some particular page or some particular website, we say it as hyperlink, right? Usually in HTML, how to write? We are using anchor tag, href equal to whatever the path. Then sometimes you are writing click here and so on. Then we close the anchor tag. This is the HTML, coding of hyperlink. But same thing if I want to do using HTML helpers, that means by using C#, then you should not do it like this, @ something. This is wrong. If somebody asks, do it by using C#, then you have to use again, HTML helpers. So anything you want to write C# coding, if it is inbuilt functionality, you have to first of all start on @ and then you have to say HTML. So there is one function called action link. There is a function called action link. You have to use that for hyperlink. So if hyperlink somebody wanted using HTML, then this is the coding. Absolutely welcome. You can write this also, no problem. If somebody wants to write using, C# functionality, which is more flexible, because function means we will pass some parameters and we can manage, right? So here you are bound to give the full path, but in action link, you are getting little better advantage. That path you can divide into which controller, which action method, and so on. So here I can say, please display click here. And when somebody is clicking there, please visit to index action method, which is available in something called students detail controller. Okay, our controller name is what? Student details. So write that here, student details. So this kind of flexibility we will get in HTML helpers. If somebody say, no, I don't know HTML helper, I know only HTML, then full path of that particular, UI where you are actually visiting, you have to give. So here it is better because I'm just saying, please go to index action method of so-and-so controller. This is more flexible comparing to this. Path you may do one mistake also. If you don't have idea about routing, which controller it is going, what action method is connecting, then which view it is going and so on, then difficult to write the path starting from http:// something. But this is good. You can say, I only created that controller. I only created one action method in that controller. Let me put this and let Razor engine decide what will be the full path of that particular action method or controller or so, whatever. So equivalent, but as a developer, you should use this second one. All right. So these are all called using HTML helpers. Any question?
Yeah, for the strongly coupled HTML helpers, do you have to make sure the property names don't clash, or since the MVC, the model view and controller are bound, tightly bound, it doesn't matter even if the property name is the same across models?
Can you repeat the question again?
Like for the strongly typed HTML helpers, you put M such that m.marks. I have to make sure that marks doesn't exist in two models, or it doesn't matter because each view goes to a different model. So I can have marks in two different.
You can, because your view doesn't indicate two model at a time, right? You can see here, you mentioned student model, means it will understand that student things, okay? Can you see here, display for, it says model such that model.result. So ultimately it is understanding result property of student class, okay? So one view can connect with one class only. So doesn't matter. It will not confuse.
But it can have many actions.
It can have many actions, no problem. Based on what you want, you can call those functions. But when we say ID will be the property name of that particular property in the model. So when we are using for. All right?
Yeah, thank you.
Sir, do we have any documentation of all these HTML helpers, like the list, what we have?
MSDN you can follow if you want everything.
Okay.
Usually Microsoft provides the document for all this. So, but not necessary. As per use, you automatically, the moment you put a dot here, those things will come. So initially you may think that I have to refer the document, what to do for text box, what to do for radio button and so on. But when you will start using, you will come to know that just after putting a dot, it is as intelligent as your controller. Okay? Because Razor engine, right? So C# is most welcome there. It will definitely help you the moment you put a dot. So little idea is required, that's it. Nobody refers document for these things. Okay, so we didn't get a chance today to implement this. So next class what we'll do is, instead of scaffolding view, that means instead of simply right clicking, then add view, then, selecting one auto-generated view, next class what we'll do, we will select empty view. Right click, add view. In the list, we will not select any auto-generated view. We will create empty view, right? Empty view means I want to write my own coding in the view. So there we will see how to make use of this HTML helpers. All right. So we will stop the class here, guys. Next class, if you have any more doubt, you can remind me. I have another class, so I have to wind up now. See you guys tomorrow, same time, 6:30 only.
Thank you.